Season 2 of Another Life is just crazy bananas. Was a sci-fi series something you were looking for again?
Not necessarily. I think that after Battlestar, I definitely needed some separation from the genre. I think that I was exhausted, number one. Number two, audiences, had I gone straight back into sci-fi, I think that it would have been disappointing. I think that there was nothing that I could have done right after that would have lived up to what that was. And so I think that I needed that separation for sure. Um, and so I think that it was smart for me to go and sort of play a character that was based in reality for a while over on Longmire. And then, when I was looking for something after Longmire, I think that I was ready to come back into like the fantasy a little bit. But I was also sort of looking for something that I could have some more control over. And the opportunity came up with Aaron and myself to go pitch to Netflix. And so we got to create a show that we wanted to create. And I think that season 2 is an indication, is much more what we had intended on creating. So it's got this there's a slower pace to it off the top. You sort of form this emotional connection to these characters, the new characters, and then that pace sort of slaps you in the face at the end.
I was going to say, did you have much of a say in how Nico developed into season 2?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I was sort of a little disappointed about in season 1 was just how sort of like apologetic she seemed. She seemed very sort of down on herself, and she didn't trust herself as a leader at times, it seemed, and she was just way too apologetic. And I didn't want to hear someone say sorry anymore. And so I said to Aaron at the beginning of the season, if Nico says sorry, I'm going to cut it out. I don't want to see this person apologize for the choices that she's making, because she was chosen for a mission and she believes in herself. And so I really wanted her to portray that, and to portray somebody that trusted that they were the right person for the job.
Well, she's on target this season to make her way back to Earth. What were some of your favorite moments, or maybe when you read the script, some dialogue that even stood out to you about this journey for her?
Mm-hmm. I think that for Nico, the journey and the mission has always been to forefront. First and most important was find out what this was, find out where it came from, and find out what the intentions were. So I think that we see Nico as she's moving along between season 1 and season 2. She's found out who they are, and she's found out that what she thinks they want, and she realizes that they're not friendly. This whole season, the most important thing for Nico is to get home, get that information home, not necessarily get herself home. And that is something that has always been very important to me in this season, or this whole series. I wanted people to understand, when we created the cryotubes, that these people were sent on a one-way mission, that the intention was never going to be that they were going to make it back. That's why there's so many people in cryosleep. There's backups upon backups upon backups, because it's not one crew that's going to accomplish this mission. It was multiple crews. And that was something that was so important for me to convey the whole time, that if you die, there's someone behind you that's in cryo that's going to wake up, and that's going to complete this mission, because the mission is the most important thing. That's the most important thing for me. I wanted that to come across. And I think we do it very well this season. I think more so than we did last season, which is, you die, someone else wakes up, and that's the story. We don't sit on it too long because the mission is most important.
Well, the cinematography is also so incredible for this series. Obviously, space is like a second character almost when it comes to this. Were you looking at the episodes? Were you surprised at how incredibly, um, I guess, they, illuminated the spatial area, or were you, you know, satisfied, or in what way?
So yeah, I think so. So, one of the challenges that we had this season was COVID. Like many shows, we were 2 weeks into shooting last year, or in 2020, when we got shut down. And so we were one of the first shows to get back up and running in Canada. I think the second show to get back up and going. We were by far the first Netflix show, I think, that was up and running. We already knew that we were going to be over budget because of the new COVID protocols that increased our budget, exponentially, keeping people safe and making sure that the testing was where it needed to be, and the safeguards were in place. Netflix is, I've worked on a few projects since, and Netflix is they set that standard of testing off the very, from the very beginning, and we felt incredibly safe at work. We felt safer at work than we did outside of work. And so for me, we were constantly ready for Netflix to simplify our episodes and cut them down a bit, because we were already over budget with COVID protocols. And they didn't. They really let us make the show visually that we wanted to make this year. They didn't cut corners this year, which is not to say they did the first season, but they didn't cut corners. They really, really allowed us to visually show the story that we wanted to tell.
Good. I just think it's such a beautiful journey, not just for Nico, but the entire series is just beautifully shot, and you do so well at her portrayal. Have you heard much of a female fan reaction to this particular character for you?
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that I'm drawn to. I think that I'm always drawn to complicated women. I find women in real life to be exponentially complicated, including myself.
Preaching to the choir.
Right. And so I am always looking for complicated women to portray, and Nico is no different. And I think that those type of women that are real and nuanced, and that people can sort of see themselves in, are characters that women that resonate with women, and that women sort of see in themselves. And so, Nico, I think is no different, and that's why I like her. She's constantly making really difficult decisions, and she is, sometimes her worst enemy is herself. So she's a very interesting woman. I like her very much.
And the fans, though, have they had much of a response to this particular role?
This season, for sure. I think that that one of the things that is very cool with working for Netflix and a streaming service is that you have data that shows you what people liked and what they didn't like, and you're almost, in a sense, given a map of what needs to shift to create a show that people want to see. And I think that this season not only did the data sort of, tell us what we already knew, but Netflix gave us, a second season to not only wrap up the story, but to sort of right the ship, for lack of a better pun, and really create a story that was special and different, and that's what I loved about it.
What's next for you? Have you been busy working on any of their projects?
Right now I'm just so blessed to be busy with another life, and just got married and promoting the Hallmark Christmas movie that comes out on Halloween, which is so strange. So, I'm very, very busy. I'm excited for those things. I can't wait for people to see the Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie and Halloween, no less. So, we're blending holidays over here, but so proud of that project, to be able to work with my husband, and for him to have been the writer and also executive producer, for us to do that together as a team was so much fun. And to get to work with Hallmark was a dream come true. I am obsessed with Hallmark Christmas movies. So to actually be in one fills my heart with a lot of joy. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. And I'm really excited for people to see her. I think that because I've played so many characters that, tend to be on this, like, sort of action hero-y strength type of, like, I think people, when they think of me, someone said at one point that every time they see me, they think I'm going to punch them in the face. And it's funny because it's not who I am at all. So I'm really excited for people to see this Christmas movie, because it's just me on camera. So,
It's the nicest role you've
hate
played
her or
so
love
far.
her. It is definitely myself. I think that someone at one point was like, does your face hurt from smiling so much? I was like, no, girl, this is just me normally. Like, I always smile like this.
Yeah, it's a change from the gritty, stoic characters you tend to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm excited to see what people think of that.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible work that you continue to do?
Oh gosh. Um, when I got into this business, um, I never dreamed, like, I knew that I was capable, and I knew that if I got an opportunity, I could do something. Um, I don't think I ever dreamed that my career would be what it is today. And I also never dreamed in a million years that I would be hitting my stride at 40. Um, I think that in this industry, I've heard from the time I was 19, if you're not established by the time you're 30, you'll never make it. You better watch out, because once you're 40, you're not going to work anymore. I've heard these things my entire career, because these are the limitations we put on women. If you're not established by the time you're 30, you're not going to make it. Gosh, when you're 40, you're washed up. You're never going to work again. So you better get it out of your system. These things that we say to women that sort of like get in the back of your mind of, this is what you're capable of. These are your limitations. This industry, this world, this shift that we're seeing has certainly benefited myself. Because I do mean when I say that I'm just hitting my stride. And it's not just because, the preparation and the opportunity have finally met. That's not it. That's part of it. But it's that creators are creating for women now. And they did before, but they're doing it in such large amounts, and that women are women of age, women who come with gravitas of age are working now. because I think that people are realizing that 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 women and women's faces and real women have something to say. And I'm excited to just be a part of that.
I mean, they tell you, you'll be the grandma or like the fun aunt. You can't be the leading lady.
Yeah. Yeah. And that always does exist. I had another actress say to me that when I turned 40, I would only play cops and lawyers.
Well,
There's nothing wrong with playing cops and lawyers, number one. Sometimes it is the interpretation and your perspective of what's in front of you. I think a lot of times that women are so quick to, sometimes that's the wrong way to say it. A lot of times society and people are very quick to point out what we don't have, what isn't available to us, instead of saying, look what I have. And so I think that we need to shift that perspective and say, how blessed am I to play cops and lawyers? How cool is that? How cool is that? Let's shift that, because then it's coming into something with positivity and gratitude. And then you can turn that into anything.